Okay, Crusher Blueprint is taking a long time, so instead of doing a regular update to the long play, hey, you get a commented episode for once. I don't really know if anybody actually expected or wanted that, considering that nobody actually watched the series, but whatever. Hey, we got a little patch going on here that adds a new active item for casuals that cannot deal with the darkness. Nah, I'm kidding, but for the most part I don't think I'm going to use it because it has an absurdly long cooldown and is not particularly useful, but you'll get to see that when I get there. In the meantime, just a pretty standard run to start off with, where I'm just running through, looking for scroll of power, looking for a weapon that's not as slow as broadsword, and maybe like a decent one or two active items before I get all the way up into ye old ossuary. So as it is, I feel like I'm enjoying the darkness update quite a bit. The new areas that they've added, the new level parts, chunks, I think they call them they've called them in the patch notes before, are, well, interesting. They make the game a lot bigger, a lot more difficult to kind of maneuver through, which is what was really tough for me to kind of deal with at the start here. Because especially with the increase the difficulty in the ossuary, that made it so that just kind of rolling my way through everything wasn't the most effective way to get through the early areas as much anymore. And oh hey, look, new sign. Just something that says, you know, watch out because this shortcut's going to be way more difficult than going through the promenade or the sewers. Which, you know, would have been great to know because I did not realize that this was a shortcut at any point in time in the 60 times I think I've been to the ossuary, or at the very least the Sepulchre prior to this. I thought that was still the only way to get in there. Also, hey, new shop. They added the shop back to the ossuary entrance here. Nothing I'm gonna grab, but you know, hey, it's nice to know that now you can actually pick up items again, like you could way back in the start of the game. So yeah, ossuary made way more hardcore, which is crazy considering that it's already pretty hardcore as it is. Oh, and also, if you did not know before, they have now put items in here. There's at least one guaranteed, sometimes two. So if you're kind of speeding through the game, it is totally worthwhile to try to find that time door as soon as possible. You are really losing out on some stat ups if you don't look for that immediately. One of the nice things... Oh, look, a little baby slasher. He's so tiny. I don't know if I like the change to the slasher. I kind of loved how they were huge, you know, Grim Reaper-looking dudes before. But little tiny ones, whatever. It's still early access. Things are liable to change quite a bit before the end of this. And I think the slasher variants with the hats and kind of like the red garb are still the same size. So whatever, you give and you take. Ossuary here, still the standard sort of MO of, oh my god, he's so tiny. Still the standard sort of MO of run down the hallway, try to find where the elevators are, because that's what you know progress is, and try to find a scroll of power and whatever other stat ups that I can possibly get. One of the big things you might have noticed if you had been watching my long play, and I know you haven't, is that I will often look for items that have stat ups associated with them, usually strength, obviously, because I love my melee weapons. But kind of like item pack horses, you could call them. Like, no, I'm probably not going to be using a vampirism like sub weapon, but hey, if it has a +1 strength on it, hell yeah, it's going in my inventory and probably going to be staying there until I beat the Watcher. Why not? So here it's pretty much just run, roll. Oh, those shockers are literally the worst thing in this place, I'd say. You know, a lot of people usually have trouble with slashers, but I get caught in the damage field of that so much more often than I do in the shocker swings here. Oh, now this is a really good little mini shop because one of the best sub weapons, sub items, active items that you can get in the entire game. It gives you basically, what is it called? Stealth for, I think, 6 seconds, which, especially in the Sepulchre, as you'll see when we get there, is just super good against fighting those trackers especially. And Wrenching Whip, overall, just a great item. Oh, here's an example of the item pack horse thing. It's like, do I really need the hook? Not really, but it does give me a health up, and since I always take strength instead of any other stat when it comes to using a scroll of power, it's like getting extra health through that is pretty much the only way that I'm going to be getting any extra health upgrades. As you can see there, it's like, yep, ran right by those enemies. Didn't even see me. Lure is one of the best active items. I keep wanting to say sub-weapons. Like it's Castlevania, which I mean, kind of. As you can see there, the Shocker didn't even notice me. And you do get the 150% damage bonus when you are stealth as well, making it doubly good even if you're not using the stealth component of it. But yeah, what was I saying here? Oh yeah, the Wrenching Whip, also fantastic item. It has the range, it has the piercing ability of the whip, but it also is significantly faster than the whip and has much higher base damage. It just doesn't have the critical that the normal whip would have. So here we go, Sepulchre. Like I said, the main differences here are little bitty tiny baby slashers and this new sub-weapon, which looks to have a placeholder icon. Nightlight. Pretty much what you do is you throw it down, it creates one of the big light globes there, as you can see, and then has like a 60-second cooldown, which is crazy because I'm usually in here for like, what, maybe 5 minutes at max? Throw down 5 of those? Not particularly useful. Here's where Lure is just really shining, running right through these hordes and hordes of trackers here and not being touched at all. Oh man, if you are ever trying, especially to go through the shortcut like that, try to grab a Lure. It's so very useful. You're trying desperately to hit the rune thing in the wall to be able to spawn the giant permanent light source there. There we go. Fighting an elite tracker is tough because those guys, unlike pretty much every other elite in the game, will not hesitate to use their phaser abilities, jumping to you, and the blink essentially, before they get to half health. So they will be on you for the entirety that you're in here if you do not take care of them. I mean, as you can see, there's a regular one following me around right there, and he does not attack nearly as fast, and he's not nearly as strong as an elite one would be. So it's unfortunate, but if you do find one of those guys, you have to deal with it. So what I'm doing here is kind of going through, getting back to the locked door. Locked doors will always have light globes near you, so even if it's starting to get dark, if you know where one of those locked doors is, just start running towards it immediately. Upgrade my shield. Alright, kamikaze all over the place. Just really have to keep on it because, I mean, if you've ever seen any of the other long play videos, those things kill me either directly or indirectly more than any other enemy in the game because they are terrible. Just awful. Look at this. Look at the density there alone. Obviously, using the lure there was probably not the best idea. It's using it, I don't know, maybe like 10 seconds before that would have been pretty helpful. And those are the dudes that are going to be dropping me the Crusher, hopefully, eventually. Now, according to the Dead Cells cheat sheet or whatever it's called, it's about a 1 in 250 chance drop, 0.4%. I've killed about 250 of these dudes, so hopefully the bones are going to be rolling in my favor soon enough. But as it is, I'm still wrecking as many of them as possible, and they're not dropping anything, unfortunately. But as it is, only 7 minutes in-game time here, and already most of my way through the Sepulchre, so I'm feeling pretty good about this run. I mean, of course, I know how it eventually turns out, but oof. It's like I remember at this time I was like, oh man, maybe I'll be able to beat that stupid speedrun video that I did earlier, which obviously not particularly difficult to do considering that if you're going through the shortcut area here, it's really way faster, and this is considered a high enough difficulty that there's a ton of different stat ups all over the place that make the Watcher, well, not like trivial, but significantly easier than it would be as if you were just trying to rush through the regular, going through all like the easier areas like the Promenade and the Ramparts. Oh, I hate those shockers. Having the hook there definitely helps a lot with them because the stun that you get from using the hook will, well, not only let you do a little extra damage there, but also stop them from doing their move even just for a second. I've gotten really lucky in this run so far, getting a 7 strength at this point. Usually, especially if you're going through the shortcut, you do not have this kind of power and are mostly like relying on, you know, kind of juking back and forth to be able to try to not die at every single point from the 20 to 30 or so trackers that you have killing you. They're trying to kill you at that time. But here I can 1, maybe 2-shot most of these dudes as I kind of come up against them. Even the meat grinders are going down super, super quickly. Also, a lot of good opportunities for health and money here, which at this point in the game, considering the only blueprint that I have left to get is in the Sepulchre here, it's like once you get past this point, and hell, once you're in here, it's mostly worthwhile to try to gather as much money as you can because, oh boy, have those shop prices gone up a lot. The prime rate is not doing too good in the dead cells world here, as you can probably tell. But aside from that, I'm mostly just going around, killing stuff here, not too much going on. The big thing I'm looking for is more of the old sombrero-wearing slashers here to see if I can desperately get that blueprint, which, well, considering that you're hearing me talk right now, I do not. So, as it is, I think that was the last one in the dungeon, in fact. You usually get about, like, what I want to say, like 7 to 10 of them each time. Here's the little boss you're going to be fighting instead of incomplete one. And it's done. 2 elite trackers. Those guys can be pretty tough, but like I said, I have some pretty high strength compared to what you would normally be having at this point, especially going through the shortcut like that. But here, it went down easy enough that, yeah, not even too much to say on it. Pretty much what you want to do to deal with those guys is the same thing you would do with any elites, which is to say basically run back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until you get them kind of in a position where you can get a hit, and then you continue to run back and forth until you can get another hit. Here I'm just kind of finishing up this area, looking for any last sombrero slashers that I can find. Can't really get anything here. Twin daggers, really good weapon, but man, that wrenching whip it has such crazy range and such good damage that it is not worth getting rid of. I'm desperately trying to look around for where the exit is, and that's a Sepulchre. There you go. Managed that, 10 minutes? 10 minutes in game here? I'm feeling pretty good about it. Good old Hayabusa boots. If I actually got those, they would also be a pretty fantastic weapon. They have huge, huge, huge range, and that AoE is fantastic after the 3-hit combo that you get. It is definitely a worthwhile weapon to find if you ever see it in-game. Usually it's like that, maybe the spear, which is generally a pretty good weapon, and the wrenching whip, I'd say, are like the best ones that you can find just kind of out in the wild. I also like the spiteful sword, but I'm not as keen on the, what do you call it, changes they made to it with the little last hit kick. I actually just liked it that you were able to exploit the whole rally mechanic to be able to, like get hit and then immediately start dealing tons and tons of extra damage. Oh yeah, Cursed Chest, always worth taking here because it is so easy just to get one of those host zombies, those guys right there, and then just kill all of those, I think they're called corpse biters, and it's like you can take care of your curse in seconds, like no time at all. Watch out for those catchers though, if they kick you, you're dead. Ugh, worst. Of course, I am so far past, thankfully, the point where I kept getting kicked by those guys every single time they tried it, so Getting there. I feel like I'm actually okay at the game at this point. Woof. Man, but let me tell you, it has been a journey so far in Dead Cells. I would say that this is like my game of the year so far. I have put so very much time. Far too much time. Also, yeah, that is great, because one of the big things I'm looking for in the graveyard here is more money. Because, yeah, you spend so much money in the shop, and this is the best place to get money, so... Finding more and more of these secret things is a huge boon for future runs. But yeah, Dead Cells, I would say, probably my game of the year so far. I am just loving the way that it plays. It's put way too many hours into it, and hell, the fact that I'm doing this whole series in the first place, I'd say is pretty good evidence that yes, I think this is a totally great game, even though it's still in early access. Just running through here. I think at this point I just decided, let's just book to the boss, finish it up. Just get this show on the road. See if I can get a good final time, as it were. Also, he kicked me right off the chain there. Oh, that's the most frustrating thing, where it takes just a couple frames to get onto the chain. But it's like, when you're starting to get on there, the enemies can still hit you. Man, I'm still looking around for like a invisible, like the 5 second, waiting 5 seconds without attacking, and you get invisible or stealth or whatever it's called modifier for the individual necklaces, because that is probably the best modifier you can get. Much like the lure is super good because you get stealth on demand. It's like that gives you stealth just after you don't attack for a little bit. Rolling does not count as attacking. Climbing up and down stuff does not count as attacking. And actually one of the best parts about the lure is that... Oh yeah, here's some classic stuff. Yeah, right into both the spike traps. I'm so good at this game. How many times have I just slammed right down into those spike traps? I want to say it's like every time. Nearly every single time I see one of those traps. But yeah, one of the best things about the lure is also that you can use the lure and heal, because healing does not count as breaking stealth. So if you ever... yeah, basically lure, one of the... Oh yeah, here's where I get confused, because despite the fact that those things look like they connect, they do not. So now I gotta warp all the way back up there, kind of circle back around to where the actual path is. But yeah, despite the fact that lure is pretty rare and pretty annoying to actually get and doesn't seem to be good, it is, I would say, like, the best sub-weapon in the game, if you're just kind of going through. Not the best for, like, attacking dudes, but you do get some extra damage from attacking out of stealth, so there's something to it. I mean, certainly when I get to the Watcher fight, you'll be able to see a bit of lure attacking usage? Attack lure? Whatever you call it. Catchers. You can try, but you're never going to hit me with that chain. Well, at least more than 2 or 3 times every single run. Get that repeater crossbow. Come on, gotta rep that new stuff. I mean, I don't want to just put stuff into the old boring weapons. Gotta check out the new ones. Get them all powered up. Which, if I still have not yet gotten a Crusher, I do have a run where I mostly use the Hayabusa boots and the repeater crossbow, so enjoy looking for that one a little later. So here we go, pretty standard Watcher fight. Immediately take a lot of damage right off the bat. I am super good at this game. Alright, but aside from that, I've got good enough damage. It's mostly just me hitting tentacles, hitting the Watcher over and over. There's not too much going on. Still get some really nice rally off of that because my health is not super high, so if I take any damage, it's most of my health. So, hey, at least that means that I get most of it all the way back up. And yes, you can use the hook on the Watcher, but I think he needs to have only like 1 chain on him or something before you can actually pull him towards you. Yeah, there's a little combat lure usage. It only does a modicum extra damage, but I mean, come on, modicum is something. There you get that excellent whip range too. And yeah, you can totally get those tentacles to hit the dummy. I mean, I don't think it's that good, because if you're out of stealth, then it becomes kind of questionable if they're going to be hitting you or hitting the dummy. But, you know, whatever. We're still worth carrying around just because that dude is just a total bro in the rest of the game. It's just so very helpful in every other part of the game, just not in bosses. And see, there's a good example of actually grabbing the Watcher. Which I don't know exactly how that works, but like I said, I think it has something to do with the amount of chains he has left. Like, he's no longer tethered to the wall so that you can start to get him more. I don't know. Also, you know, hitting him with the hook will do a bit of extra damage on your next hit anyway, so it's pretty much always worth using, even though it's just a little extra damage. More tentacles, same phase. Second verse, same as the first. Roll through the one that's coming at you, hit the ones that are coming up from underneath you. That's it. Only there was something else I could say. And I guess I can talk about, not super keen on the Watcher boss battle. I mean, if you've ever seen like the stats screen from the long play, it's like I have lost so many more games than I have won. And that's honestly because, well, one, I'm trying to go super fast, and I gotta make a good video. Go Sonic mode, you know? But the other thing is, I don't really care that much about fighting the Watcher. And no, with a new update, there's nothing new after there. You still get killed after talking to Tentacle Man in the wharf there, so not too much to say on that. But aside from that, you know, pretty decent run. I beat the stupid quote-unquote speed run that I have on my channel. And got a pretty decent Sepulchre run, so hey, that's a thing.